You're new at work, excited about your homemade lunch, only to find it stolen from the office fridge again. The worst part? The thief is a smug, misogynistic coworker who thinks he's untouchable, but I had a plan. By the time I was done, he was too scared to even look at the fridge. Want to know how I got my revenge? Stick around, this one's delicious. If you've ever been wronged by someone who thought they could walk all over you, hit that like button, subscribe, and let's dive into a story of petty, perfect revenge that'll leave you cheering. Trust me, you're gonna love this. 10 years ago, I was the new girl at a mid-sized marketing firm, bright-eyed and eager to prove myself. The office was a typical corporate jungle, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, the faint smell of burnt coffee lingering in the air, and cubicles packed so tight you could hear your neighbor's stomach growl. I was thrilled to be there, though, and every morning I pack a lunch with care. We're talking gourmet-level sandwiches, freshly baked bread, crisp veggies, and sauces I'd spent hours perfecting at home. It was my little ritual, a slice of comfort in a stressful new job, but then it started happening. I'd head to the break room, open the shared fridge, and find my Tupperware sitting there, empty, no sandwich, no salad, no trace of a meal. I'd lovingly prepared. The first time I brushed it off, maybe I forgot to pack it, but by the third time in 2 weeks, I knew something was wrong. My lunch wasn't just disappearing. It was being stolen, and the thief, they had the audacity to leave my container behind, mocking me with its emptiness. I could feel my blood pressure spike every time I opened that fridge door. My cheeks would burn, my fists would clench, and I'd stand there, staring at my empty Tupperware, feeling like a fool. It wasn't just about the food, it was the violation, the disrespect. Someone was taking something I'd worked hard for, and they didn't care how it made me feel. I started asking around, casually bringing it up with colleagues over coffee. "Oh, that's probably Greg," one coworker said, rolling her eyes. "He's been doing this for years. Management doesn't care." Greg, the name alone made my skin crawl. He was a senior account manager, mid-40s, with a permanent smirk, and a loud, grating laugh that echoed through the office. He'd strut around like he owned the place, tossing misogynistic jabs disguised as jokes, and brushing off anyone who dared call him out. I'll never forget the first time we clashed. I was presenting an idea in a team meeting, and he interrupted me mid-sentence. "Sweetheart, maybe stick to making coffee," he said, winking at the room. The laughter that followed felt like a punch to the gut. I was the newbie, the youngest woman on the team, and Greg saw me as an easy target. Little did he know, I wasn't the type to let things slide. The lunch thefts continued twice a week, sometimes 3. Each time, I'd find my container empty, or with just a sad scrap of lettuce left behind. I started labeling my Tupperware with my name in bold Sharpie, but it didn't stop him. If anything, it felt like he was taunting me, picking my lunch specifically because he knew I couldn't prove it was him. I'd sit at my desk, eating a granola bar I kept in my bag, fuming as I imagined Greg smugly chowing down on my food in some corner office. After a month of this, I snapped. It was a Tuesday, and I'd opened the fridge to find my container empty again. This time, it was my mom's famous lasagna, a recipe I'd spent hours perfecting the night before. I stood there, gripping the fridge handle so hard my knuckles turned white, my heart pounding with a mix of rage and humiliation. I wasn't just mad about the food anymore. I was done feeling powerless, done letting Greg treat me like a doormat, done with the office turning a blind eye. That night, I sat on my couch, staring at my empty Tupperware, and a spark of pettiness ignited in my chest. If Greg wanted to play dirty, I'd play dirtier. I wasn't going to confront him directly, guys, like him thrived on that kind of attention. No, I needed something clever, something that would hit him where it hurt without ever laying a finger on him. I needed revenge, The next day, I started my plan. Step 1, stop bringing my real lunch to the fridge. I switched to eating sandwiches. I could keep at my desk, no refrigeration needed. Step 2, create a decoy. I'd bring a Tupperware filled with food that looked tempting enough to steal, but was, let's just say, unappetizing in ways Greg wouldn't suspect. For 2 weeks, I brought decoy lunches, nothing dangerous, just weird combinations like overcooked rice mixed with fishy-smelling tuna and a sprinkle of Parmesan that had seen better. Days, I'd leave them in the fridge, labeled with my name, and wait. Sure enough, Greg took the bait every time. I'd find my container empty, and I'd smile to myself, knowing he was eating something gross. But it wasn't enough. I wanted him to stop. That's when I got the idea for the ultimate psychological takedown. I remembered a conversation I'd overheard in the break room, Greg ranting about how disgusting women's bodies were, mocking everything from periods to childbirth. It was vile, but it gave me an idea. What if I could make him think he'd eaten something so repulsive he'd never touch the fridge again? I started talking about a new wellness trend I'd discovered. Over lunch breaks, I'd casually mentioned a coworker's loud enough for Greg to overhear that. I was collecting my menstrual blood and incorporating it into my meals for health benefits. I'd lean into the details, describing how I'd pour my menstrual cup into my cooking, blending it into sauces or mixing it with rice. I'd watch Greg's face out of the corner of my eye, catching the way his smirk faltered, his eyes narrowing in discomfort. To sell the lie, I went all in. I filmed a fake video on my phone, nothing graphic. Just me pouring a dark red liquid, really just cranberry juice and food coloring, from a menstrual cup into a bowl of pasta sauce. I pull it up during conversations, showing it to coworkers who were in on the joke, making sure Greg saw it. It's life-changing, I'd say, keeping a straight face. You should try it, Greg. The truth. My decoy lunches were harmless. I'd sprinkle in some edible but weird ingredients like crushed up bits of dried seaweed or, once, a tiny pinch of grated callus from my heel. Gross, I know, but it was safe and effective. The goal wasn't to poison him. It was to plant a seed of doubt so vile he'd second-guess every bite he stole. A week after I started my wellness trend campaign, it happened. I was in the break room when Greg walked in, looking paler than usual. He grabbed a water bottle from the fridge, avoiding my Tupperware like it was radioactive. I couldn't resist. "Hey, Greg," I said sweetly. "You haven't tried my new recipe yet, have you? It's extra special today." His face turned green. He mumbled something about being busy and practically sprinted out of the room. The next day, I heard he'd called in sick, then the day after that. By the end of the week, he'd taken a full week off. When he came back, he never touched the fridge again. Not my lunch, not anyone's. The office fridge became a safe haven, and I could finally bring my mom's lasagna without worrying it'd end up in Greg's stomach. Standing in the break room, eating my untouched lunch, I felt a rush of triumph. My heart was light, my shoulders relaxed for the first time in weeks. Greg could keep his smug comments in his corner office, but I'd taken back my power. And the look on his face, that was sweeter than any dessert I'd ever packed out sometimes. The best revenge isn't about fighting fire with fire. It's about outsmarting the bully and making them think twice. This wasn't just about a stolen lunch. It was about standing up to someone who thought they could get away with anything. Karma's a funny thing, isn't it? It doesn't always need a punch, just a little creativity. If this story made you cheer for justice, smash that like button and drop a comment below. What's the pettiest revenge you've ever pulled or wanted to? Don't forget to subscribe for more Reddit revenge stories that'll keep you hooked. Until next time, stay petty and stay proud.